Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to start warping a loom that has holes in it. So you will have prepared the loom with the wrapping and then put a long thread on your needle, probably a good 4 meters. For this size, this is about a 3 or 3.5 inch loom, and it has 48 holes, if that helps. So it will depend, of course, on the size of your loom, but you will need a lot of thread. And start by taking a small piece of your low-tack tape and taping on the back of the loom, or the side, I should say, the side that you're not looking at, the private side. Tape your end down so it doesn't come loose while you're working, and bring your thread through to the working side of the loom. Now you're going to be working in a clockwise direction. You'll start by putting your needle in to the first, see there's my mark there, so I put my needle into the first thread of my wrap from left to right, and I'm going to be moving in a clockwise direction. Pull it through, turn the loom, and once again directly across from the starting, put my needle in left to right, pull it firmly, and turn the loom left to right. Sorry, getting stuck there. Turn the loom, pull the thread firmly, needle in left to right, turn the loom, left to right, left to right, left to right, and so on. You do want to pull it up firmly. You don't want any slack in the web. Now I will continue doing that all the way around, and when I get around to the point at which I have to join on to where I started, I will rejoin you and show you how to do it. Okay, I have finished putting the warping threads all the way around, and I reeled off at least 4 meters, maybe closer to 4.5 meters of thread, and that's all I have left from doing, let's see, from doing a loom that is about 3.5 inches in diameter. So yeah, you really need a lot of thread. Now I want to continue, but I don't have enough thread to continue, so what I'm going to do is knock the thread off here and pick another color and continue with the very first steps of weaving, which don't change that much from project to project. I should mention that the side that I'm working on is the wrong side of the weaving, so that the right side will eventually be this side that, depending on your loom, you may or may not be able to see. So when I brought this first thread that I taped down to this side, I actually brought it to the right side, and we'll deal with it at the very end of making the wheel of lace. But for now, I'm just going to, oh, and I should also say you want to pull these firmly. You don't want slack in the warping of the loom. So they should be firm. And just to finish it off, I'm just going to pick up a lump of thread here in the center where it can't be seen, and do a knot. Sorry, my thread is caught here. There we go. Pull it up. Sorry, just a second. Gotta thread that. Talk amongst yourselves while I thread this needle. Okay. And I'm going to do another knot. picking up some arbitrary number of threads here, and just do one more. Okay, then you can snip it off and put a drop of glue on it to hold it for the long term. Okay, and on the right side you can't see that I did any knots, and that will be the case throughout. Now the next step is to take also another long piece, but perhaps not quite as long, not 4 meters, but depending on what you plan to do, at least 1 meter, possibly 2. I'm just going to take about 1 meter so that it's not ridiculously long to show you. And basically every wheel begins, once you have it warped, it begins the same way. So I'm going to take the top couple of threads here, and I'm just going to tie my thread on. You can do the surgeon's knot, so right over, left and under again, and then left over, right and under. Okay. And we have a couple of choices, but what I almost always start with is what's called double darning. And if any of you did Meg's Dorset button class, you'll recognize immediately what I mean when I say that. Basically, I'm going to put my needle under 2 ends, over 2 ends, under 2 ends, over 2 ends, under 2 ends, all the way around. You'll have to pull it through now and then. And when you pull it in to the center, it will gradually neaten and tighten the center of your warp. So now I just have to find out where I left off, which I do by, I just pull back slightly so I can see where to start again. I'm underneath on this one, so I have to go over the next 2. Under, over, under, over, under. You can do this in the same color as your warp, or you can do it in a contrasting color, or whatever you like. I think typically it's done with the same color, but it's up to you. I'm under here, so I'm going to go over the next. Under, under, over, under. Now this is called double darning, but you could actually do single darning if you wanted, and that would involve going under one end, so half of this pair, and over the other half, and under one end of the next pair and over, and under one end and over. So that would be single darning, but I find double darning works well, looks neat, and is seems to be a traditional way to start off one of these motifs. So I'm under this thread, so I'm going to go over the next, under, over, under, over, under. Now I'm almost back to the beginning. Over, under, over. Actually, this is my beginning thread here. Okay, what you want to do now is you want to continue going under and over and under, but you don't want to go under and over the same threads as you did in the first round. So in the first round, I went over the first pair and under the second pair. So in this round, I'm going to go under the first pair and over the second pair. In other words, I'm reversing my pattern from the first round so that I will get a checkerboard of weaving once I'm completed. You don't have to pull it super tight in the center. Sorry, it's hard to see. It's far away from my hands, more further away than I'm used to working. If you need to know where you are, I usually pull back on this thread and I can see where I've gone under. Then I know what to go over the next time. And I'm watching where I am in relation to the mark that shows me where I started. So under here, so I want to go over there. Okay, so I've now done round 2 of my double darning. You can stay there, or you could do a couple more until the pattern becomes more visible and more of a feature. Or if you wish to stop, you could tie off these threads here, or you could start with knotting, and you could do 1 row of knotting either right on the edge of the double darning, or you could step out 1/2 centimeter or 1 centimeter and do a row of knots further out. That will have to do with what your design is in mind. Okay, in the next video I'll show you how to warp a loom with pins, whether it's a flat loom like this one with pins on a flat surface, or whether it's a loom where the pins are on the outer edge.